Hello, friend. Welcome to my kitchen witchery. This is where the magic happens. I was just about to make one of my favorite gluten-free, dairy-free apple crisp recipes, and it got me thinking that all of the ingredients are more than just tasty, yummy foods. They actually have deep spiritual and energetic and magical meanings that can support your spiritual journey and give you a hint to the name of your beloved. Today, I want to share the spiritual property of all these ingredients, especially the humble apple. We'll focus on a fun apple divination ritual that you can do on Samhain, or as most people call it, Halloween, to reveal the first initial of your true love. And we'll bake using all these other ingredients to make a wonderful apple crisp that's healthy, nutritious, and nourishing for the soul. So let's bake some magic. Seems I forgot something. My bowl. And the spoon came too. That's awesome. Okay, so the spiritual ingredients that we're going to talk about today are all right here. And they all have energetic properties that amplify your manifesting intentions. So before you even do anything, it's always great to draft up a list of desires that you can focus on before you get started, whether it's wanting to attract more cash flow, or maybe a new career, or in this case, since we're talking about apples and apple crisp, apples represent love. The ingredients to the crisp topping are all about amplifying your intentions. So when we put that all together, we're amplifying love. Get it? So let's start. We have oats. Now, oats are interesting because I know that I said gluten-free at the front, and yes, oats are gluten-free. If and only if they are made in a plant that does not also make wheat-based and other gluten grains. So you have to double check your packaging to make sure they specifically say gluten-free. And I also buy ones that are, I think it's called glyphosate, the bug killer that you're not supposed to spray on plants that a lot of people do. This brand also does not have that in it. So make sure when you're buying your oats, if you're going to use them, that they are really good quality, they're gluten-free, and they're non-GMO and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to put in, and if you don't want to use oats because you're doing grain-free, you're paleo, whatever, almond flour or coconut flour for paleo is really good. I don't have any coconut flour right now to show you, but it's basically white and looks like this. But we start with 2 cups of old-fashioned oats, which are a grounding grain. They're super grounding. They're super grounding. They symbolize nourishment and stability. And again, if you're going paleo, you can replace all of this with almond flour and coconut flour. Almonds, of course, represent financial growth and prosperity, but we'll get to them in a minute. First, we want to add 2 cups of pecans, or pecans if you're from up north like I am. If you have whole pecans, it's okay. You can just chop them up. These ones are pre-chopped, but pecans are associated with abundance and receiving gifts that the universe has to offer. So if you are setting your intentions for your love or career or whatever things you want to amplify that manifesting from, you want to make sure you receive them, right? That's part of the whole process at the end, is to be open to receiving. Well, your pecans are going to help you with that energy of receiving, to open you up to receive the gifts from the universe. Now, almond meal. Here's 1 cup of almond meal for extra richness. Almonds foster prosperity, material wealth, and spiritual growth, making them the perfect ingredient to weave into this magical kitchen creation. And then we have flaked coconut. Now, the flaked coconut is unsweetened. So make sure, especially if you are paleo or following some sort of diet that is, sugar-free, you want to make sure you get unsweetened coconut so that you don't get the extra sugar in there. And coconut is the perfect symbol of purification and protection. So not only are we getting all of these amplified manifesting energies going on, we're also clearing and cleansing them so they come through in the purest form possible. Now we have some cinnamon. I love cinnamon. It is, to me, it represents the fire element of where, to me, fire is the in-between, the process of where you set your intention and it comes into being in the earthly realm. This is where the intention bakes. It's where the universe is in charge of manifesting the intention. So we only need a little bit because it is super spicy, super powerful. So we'll add a half of a teaspoon for warmth and manifestation power. Cinnamon is all about abundance and prosperity. It's another one of these fall spices that is really about that manifestation, abundance, prosperity, and really speeding up, like putting a fire under the manifestations to come on out and make them happen. So it's perfect for this crisp. And then we add a little bit of salt. Salt in general, when you're cooking, it amplifies all flavors, which is really great. It's also protective, and I'm not sure if all of and I know that there's all kinds of salt. This is just regular old iodized table salt. You could use Himalayan salt or some other salt that you prefer that has the properties you want, because salt has all different properties. Maybe share in the comments what your favorite salt is and what the properties are and why you love it. Now, I love olive oil. Olive oil and honey are our binders for this. Olive oil, to me, it represents peace, protection, and amplifying your intuition, which is probably why I love olive oil. That, and I'm Italian, I pretty much grew up drinking this stuff. So we're going to put about 3/4 of a cup of olive oil in. I know that sounds strange because we're making a sweet thing, but trust me, it's going to be friggin' delicious. You're probably going to want to just eat this by the spoonful before it even gets on top of our apples. Now, we're going to have 2/3 of a cup of honey. Now, this is real honey. It is raw, and it is actually aged in whiskey barrels. So it has a little bit of that whiskey taste, which I really love. You can get this only one time a year at Costco. They have it in the fall. And if you miss it, you miss it. It almost looks like it's in a whiskey bottle, but you can find it at Costco as far as I know. Anyway, the honey is the sweetness, the love, and the ability to make things stick. A lot of times people will use honey when they're making curse jars to make whatever the curse is stick. But in this case, what we're making stick is the abundance, the prosperity, and whatever your intentions are, we're making that manifestation stick so you receive it and it sticks. And in this case, we're going to top all of the love from these apples with all of this abundance growth. It's also sometimes used as an offering to the ancestors, which is great because right now we are heading into that time where the veil is thinnest. Samhain, this is a great Samhain dish because of that. And you might also use it as an offering to your favorite deity as well. And lastly, for a little bump up of flavor, I love vanilla extract. Now this stuff I make myself. I'll probably do another video about how I do that. But it is vanilla beans and vodka is what that is. But I don't recall what the spiritual meaning of vanilla is. I'm sure it has one because it's a vanilla bean. So if you know, it is slipping my mind. I feel really bad about that. If you know what the meaning of vanilla is, if you could go ahead and just comment below and let me know, that'd be great. But this vanilla, when I make it from scratch, it is my favorite and I use it all the time. And we just need 1 little teaspoon of it to give it the flavor that, gives it that kind of lovely vanilla flavor. And I love it. So. I should have a little towel. Now I know why Julia had the towel in her hip. And then we're going to just stir the mixture. All right. We're going to set this aside for a moment while we prepare our apples. But before we do that, let's have a chat about the humble yet magical apple and its insights into your love life. Since apples are a huge part of Samhain, or as most people call it, Halloween, harvest time, They were believed to be a sign of immortality, fertility, love, and wisdom, and otherworldliness, and really just paradise on earth. I guess that's why in Scottish folklore, in the land of the fairies, Avalon, or as it translates, the Isle of Apples, apples are said to grow year-round, symbolizing eternal life. In Italy, giving an apple as a gift was a gesture of love, and they were believed to ward off evil spirits, making them a protective and nourishing symbol as well. Now, let's have a bit of fun with some old school apple peel divination. This practice goes back centuries and is a form of folk magic for discovering the first letter of your true love's name. Now, I have two kinds of apples here that we're going to use in our apple crisp. I have your good old-fashioned Granny Smith. It's my favorite. Darren doesn't love these, but they're my favorite. So we're going to use them, and they taste really good in baked things like pies and crisps and stuff. Now, I wanted a red apple because, well, let's be honest, they look a lot better on camera. And I'm not fond of Red Delicious. I saw these at the store, and they are a new variety called Cosmic Crisp apples. And I was like, I can't resist. That's like the universe sending me a message, use these in your video, so I did. And so how we do this is you basically have to peel the apple in one long strip, and you're supposed to use a paring knife. And this is a paring knife, but sometimes you might have a hard time with that. It might be a little challenging. And so it's okay to use a peeler, which you have the two kinds like this. And you can use it, and you can either go around, bum, 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 or, you know, if you're more into this business, I would not, for this particular divination, use those cranky ones because they usually kind of put a really, like a thin strip versus the thicker strip that you're going to want to have. You might end up with a scribble instead of an initial at the end. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to use this apple. Now, I know that it's totally wrong to peel the apple in the direction towards yourself. So you really can't do it this way, but I'm Italian. This is how I learned how to peel apples. So I guess do as I say, not as I do. What we're going to do is peel the thing, and we're going to try and get it in one long strip. Ah! Oh well, that's about as long as I'm going to get. I think I did pretty good. So basically, you have this one long strip, and you're going to toss it over your left shoulder. I'm guessing, you know, it's probably whatever, like if you're left-handed dominant, toss it over your right shoulder. But in general, the way things are written back in the day, they're assuming that you're right-handed, so you toss it over your left shoulder. It'll land and form the initial of the person you're destined to marry. So Darren is here filming with me because he is my beloved and also an amazing camera person. And so we're hoping we're going to get a D in the process. If not, I'm not sure what we might do, like 2 out of 3, best out of 5, whatever. But either way, it's a light-hearted bit of fun. And there's always a touch of magic in these old traditions. So let's go ahead and try and see what happens. Ooh. I hope that doesn't mean we're going to break up.
It's a B and a C, a D and a C. I don't know.
It kind of looks like a D. Let's say it's a D and a C, which would make really sense. And it has a period for the initials, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe it's a U, but I don't know anybody named with a U. Maybe it's a D. I don't know. Well, if you give this a go, let me know what initial you got in the comments and what your results were. Did you meet the person who you're supposed to love with the initial that matches you perfectly? I always love perfect matches. If you're loving these magical insights so far, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It helps support the channel and keeps you in the loop for all of the kitchen magic to come. Now that we know who my beloved is, let's chop up this apple and get this magical delight into the oven. First, you're going to want to preheat the oven at 350 degrees. For easy cleanup later, is make sure you spray your pan with olive oil spray. And then we're going to chop up and layer these apples. So all I'm going to do here is slice these apples in little thin slices and then layer them into the pan. You can use a glass or a ceramic pan for your pie plate, or if you have a Pyrex dish, those work well too. I have to tell you that I love serving this at functions, whether it's a picnic in the summertime and you use peaches instead of apples, or you can actually mix in some blackberries with your apples. But what I love doing is I love taking these to functions or friends' homes when we get invited for dinner or a picnic, because people never ever know that it is gluten-free or dairy-free for that matter. And if you leave a little bit of peel on there, that's okay too. So I'm going to probably use 3, maybe 4 apples, because Darren, my beloved, loves his apple crisp and apple pies full of apples. So I try to do at least an extra little one. So you might end up using, depending on, these are really big apples, so you might want to either pick large apples and get 3 large, or if you're buying them in a bag, a lot of times the apples that come in pre-bagged at the store, they're a little smaller than the apples you buy by the one. So if you're buying those ones, you might want to do probably 4 or 5 apples, just because they're smaller. And the cool thing about making apple crisps and pies and things like that are your apples do not have to be perfect. This isn't like, a French Gillette or tart or something, where I have a friend of mine who she makes like these apple rose things, and those, like, they do need to be perfect. I'm not what you would call a baker. I'm much more of a cook. So the less perfect a baked good can be, the better off I am. I just want it to taste good. It doesn't really have to look super pretty, but these always kind of come out looking pretty because of all the textures in the topping. So there you go. Beloved, should I do one more apple?
Yes.
Okay. I told you he likes his apples. Okay. Now, we have all of our apples. So I put lemon juice, about 2 tablespoons, over my apples just to keep them kind of, it helps them cook better, but then it also keeps their shape, and it keeps them fresher, so you don't end up with a bunch of icky brown apples even though they're cooked. So what I like to do to get the most juice out of my lemon, and I know this is like a secret because I've only heard it one other place, and what I like to do is you put it in the microwave for 10 seconds before you juice it. So don't worry, it's not going to blow up. At least I hope it's not. So, and then when it's done cooking, you do like this, because it releases more of the juices this way. I'm going to cut it in half. We're going to cut it in half. Get our handy dandy lemon squisher. You do got a lot of apples in here. Yeah. Put all this over here. And now we're going to add our topping. Now, I love this stuff. You might want to end up eating it. Once you taste it, you're going to be like, I am never going to question using olive oil in baking again, because this shiz is amazing. Might need to be strategic when you're putting it on your crisp because it is voluminous. You want to make sure it covers your apples, but also doesn't like end up on the floor. Put it all in there. It's like a mountain. It's awesome. So I'm going to grab a cookie sheet, a large enough cookie sheet to put this on top of and line it with tin foil so it doesn't make a mess. So that way when you put it in the oven, if it boils over, you don't end up having to clean your oven, because I'll tell you this way, I'm not that magical to make that even feel good. So this will then maybe get a little bubbly and stuff, and it's going to taste really, really good. So I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for 40 to 50 minutes. I usually set the timer for 45 and check it, because that way you can't overcook something. And that way you can check it, set it for an extra 5 minutes if needed. It's been cooking for about 35 to 40 minutes, and it's time to take it out of the oven and see what we have. Ooh, it looks good. It's still heavy. It smells amazing. Now what's also great with this is you can top it with some vanilla ice cream, or maybe some almond whipped cream, like almond milk whipped cream or coconut milk whipped cream, or one of the dairy-free ice creams that you maybe like. So I'm going to go ahead and plate some up and see what, so you can see what the apples look like on the inside. And steamer. Lots and lots of crumble topping, because it's delicious. And there you go. So once it's done, you've got a magical, nourishing apple crisp full of perfect fall flavors and the energy of love, abundance, and manifesting, just powered right up by your crumble topping. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you make it for your Samhain dinner or a Halloween festive treat for yourselves. And remember to do your apple peel ritual so that you can let me know in the comments who it is that you have decided is your beloved based on your apple peel. Is it the guy you're living with? Is it your partner? I don't know. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you do the ritual and let me know in the comments how it went. Thank you so much. Infinite love and gratitude to you for joining me in my kitchen. If you like this recipe and you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That totally helps my channel. Go ahead and subscribe for more kitchen witchery, and I'll see you next time. And until then, I'll see you in the vortex. Blessed be. Bye. If you're loving this kitchen witch magic, I've created a free guide with simple kitchen rituals to bring more magic into your everyday life. You can download it for free just by clicking the link in the description below.